After working all day, I came home starving, but my mom snatched my plate away, saying, "The guests are about to leave. I need you to clean," denying me food. That's when I snapped and stood up, looking her straight in the eye. "I've been working all day. I've been supporting this family since I was 16, I said, my voice rising with years of suppressed frustration. "When are Jake and Lily going to start contributing?" At that moment, my twin siblings walked in. Jake proudly showed off his new high-end headphones while Lily held up her brand new tablet, both expensive gifts from their 16th birthday party that I'd missed because I was at work. My dad just smiled condescendingly and said, "Jake and Lily have a bright future ahead of them. They need to focus on their studies." The rage that filled me was white-hot and clarifying. Didn't I have a bright future? When did you ever think about my needs? "Don't you dare talk to us like that. This is our home and you will show respect. Go to your room. No dinner for you." As I lay in the dark that night, unable to sleep, something crystallized in my mind. For the first time, I saw the situation with complete clarity. I wasn't their daughter. I was their unpaid employee, their live-in servant, their financial safety net. And I was done. What my family didn't understand was that I wasn't the helpless teenager they still treated me as. I was Nicole, 24 years old, and I'd been quietly building something real while they took everything from me. Over the past 3 years, I'd been working at Romano's, an upscale restaurant downtown, where I'd worked my way up from server to line cook to assistant chef. My current salary was $3,200 per month, and I'd been secretly keeping $800 for myself while giving them the rest. My parents thought I made minimum wage at some dingy diner. They had no idea I'd been promoted twice, that the head chef Marcus had been mentoring me, or that I'd been taking culinary classes at night. They definitely didn't know about the $9,600 I'd managed to save in a separate account they knew nothing about. The culinary classes had been paid for by Tom, my former diner boss, who'd recognized my talent and passion for cooking. When I told my parents about the opportunity, my mom had frowned and said, "What about your duties at home? Who will cook and clean while you're in these classes?" They'd tried to sabotage it, but I'd found a way to make it work anyway. I also had something they'd never bothered to cultivate: real relationships with people who saw my worth. My coworker Mia had become a close friend, and she'd been telling me for months, "This is not normal, Nicole. You have to leave and live your own life." Marcus, my mentor, had already hinted that Romano's was looking to expand and that I was being considered for a sous chef position at their new location. More importantly, I had documentation of everything. Bank records showing how much I'd been contributing to the household, photos and receipts of all the expensive gifts Jake and Lily received while I got homemade cards and used books, a detailed log I'd been keeping of all the household responsibilities I managed while working full-time. Evidence of financial abuse that would make any labor attorney salivate. The next morning, after my parents left for work and the twins went to school, I called in sick to work and got to business. First, I called Marcus and explained my situation. He immediately offered me a room above Romano's, small but rent-free for the first 2 months as part of a staff housing program I didn't know existed. Then I called Mia, who offered to help me move. Within 4 hours, we'd packed my few belongings into her car. I left behind anything they'd paid for, taking only my personal items, my cookbook collection, and the small houseplant my colleague had given me for my old room, the only housewarming gift I'd ever received. I left a single note on the kitchen counter. "I quit. Find someone else to be your live-in servant. My final paycheck goes to me. Don't contact me." Within 24 hours, my phone was buzzing with angry calls and messages. My parents were furious, demanding I come home immediately. When I didn't respond, they switched tactics, claiming they'd been preparing me for the real world and that I was ungrateful. Jake and Lily sent confused texts asking who was going to cook dinner and do their laundry. I blocked all their numbers and focused on my new life. Marcus fast-tracked my promotion, and within a month I was sous chef at Romano's new location with a $4,500 monthly salary. I enrolled in advanced culinary management courses and started building my own professional network in the restaurant industry. The consequences for my family became apparent quickly. Without my financial contributions and unpaid labor, they struggled immediately. Dad had to take on weekend shifts to cover the income gap. Mom, who'd never cooked regularly, burned dinner so often they started ordering takeout constantly, draining their budget further. Jake and Lily, who'd never learned basic life skills because I'd always handled everything, couldn't manage their own schedules or household tasks. Their grades started slipping when they had to actually take care of themselves. Dad started assigning them chores, something that had never happened when I was their built-in caretaker. 6 months later, I was thriving in my studio apartment above a coffee shop, having saved enough to move out of Romano's staff housing. My savings had grown to $15,000. I'd been promoted again, this time to head chef of Romano's lunch service, and I was being courted by culinary schools for their advanced programs. My parents finally tracked down my work number and called Romano's, demanding to speak with me. Marcus took the call and listened to them rant about their ungrateful daughter before informing them that I was one of his most valued employees and that any further harassment would result in him contacting his attorney. They never called again. Jake and Lily both had to get part-time jobs to help cover household expenses, the first real work they'd ever done. My parents downsized to a smaller apartment, finally experiencing the financial reality they'd insulated themselves from using my labor. Dad's weekend shifts became permanent when Mom had to take a second job to make ends meet. Tom, my former diner boss who'd supported my culinary education, became a regular customer at Romano's and often praised my success to other restaurant owners, helping expand my professional reputation. Mia got promoted to manager at her own job and we remained close friends, often celebrating our mutual success over dinner at Romano's. Today, I'm sitting in my cozy studio apartment, surrounded by my cookbook collection, a secondhand coffee table from a thrift store, and that single houseplant, now thriving and much larger than when I started this journey. For the first time in my life, I feel truly free. I learned that sometimes the people who claim to love you are actually your biggest obstacle to success. And I built a future based on my own dreams, not their expectations.